Good morning, and welcome to Ramblings with Joe. I'm having a little bit of a difficult day getting started here. This is my fourth attempt at beginning the show. I think it's because I just don't have a very good topic that motivates me to speak this morning. So maybe the topic this morning should be on motivation in the mornings, which I usually don't have a problem with. It's really what the catalyst to this podcast was about. I had a lot of energy in the mornings, and I would wake up and be a little bit too energetic for the wife. So I ended up coming and talking on this podcast. I think the ability to get out of bed in the morning, and how did my wife put it? She got it from her spiritual learnings. In the morning, we're supposed to rise as a lion. I think you're supposed to go to bed at night as a lamb. Rising as a lion, I don't think that means that you're supposed to wake up grumpy and roaring and angry at everybody. I think that means you're supposed to wake up and take on the day. Put your feet on the floor, get dressed, do your morning routine, and go for it. And I've never had an issue with that. We all have occasional days where we are, just unmotivated, just want to go right back to sleep. So this morning, after 6.5 hours of sleep, I woke up and I looked at the clock. I usually beat my alarm by an hour or two. And I'm thinking to myself, do I want to get up this morning? And I really didn't want to. What I wanted to do was roll back over and go to sleep. I'm watching a debate right now on YouTube. Steven Crowder and Dave Smith. These are two people who I really respect and enjoy, and they are enjoyable to watch. And I think the reason they are enjoyable to watch is they're very motivated about their point of view, and they're not playing party politics. This is not a show about politics. This is about, like I said, motivation in the morning. And when I woke up this morning, that debate, which I'm midway through, I still have about maybe a third to go, about an hour. I was really surprised when I came across it on YouTube last night. My wife and I usually, as we're winding down the day, sit and look at YouTube videos, or we'll pick a movie, or we'll just sit and talk. But last night, I saw this and I cranked it up. I didn't realize they had the debate. Normally when I'm driving during the day, I listen to quite a few podcasts, but during this particular time in my career, I'm training people. So I'm not listening to nearly the amount of podcasts that I normally do. So I'm not keeping up on a lot of the personalities and situations that I normally would. So when I came across this, I immediately, wow, welcome to Ramblings with Joe. This started off about a morning motivational talk. At any rate, I was thinking about that. So that kind of, as I woke up, that kind of brought me back to reality and out of my slumber. And as I usually do, I grabbed my phone, grabbed my glasses, and I started reading the news. And that was very, very disheartening. I see that Gaza and Israel got into a firefight, and the hard right in Israel wants them to go back to war. And there was actually a bombardment from Israel to Gaza. So I said, I'm not up for the news. This is all disheartening. We have a peace treaty. I don't know why we can't abide by it. A little more coffee to get motivation going this morning. One of the things that I have found about mornings is the snooze button is an evil, evil thing. I don't use a snooze button, and I haven't now for years. When my alarm goes off, that's it. Not, that's it, I want to get up. That's it. That's the last time I can get up and still be on time for my day. The usual scenario is to be on time for work. But even on the weekends, I have my alarm set. And I usually beat it on the weekends as well. And the mornings that I decide to sleep in, I still beat my alarm. I just turn it off before it goes off. But the snooze button, I think that is a demotivating factor in most people's lives. I think I've talked about that before on the podcast. I think that actually using a snooze button, all it does is let you lay in bed. You're not sleeping. I don't know which school I read the study from, but there is a study that said snooze button is actually doing just the exact opposite of what you think it is. You're not getting any extra sleep. So, after reading that, I set my alarm to the time I needed to get up. Back in the day, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. When it went off, I knew if I didn't get up, I would be late for work or late for whatever I had to do. So I'd get up, no snooze, just put my feet on the ground and go. There were days where I didn't want to get up. The motivating factor is not the snooze button. The motivating factor is I can't be late for work. The motivating factor is I can't be late to go fishing. The motivating factor is I can't be late to go take pictures of the morning birds. The snooze button is an admission that what we want to do is to continue to sleep. And the motivation there is sleep. And if you're not getting enough, the snooze button, if you're using the snooze button, should be an indication that you need to go to bed earlier. My personal opinion. I have known people who have set 6 and 7 alarms a half hour apart. I have no idea what implication that has on the body and whether it's helping with sleep or not. I do know that I think it takes a little bit longer to get into REM than a half hour. I was looking at my sleep stats this morning trying to figure out why I was unmotivated, and my heart rate variance was lower than it should be, meaning it was... I wish we had a better way of putting that, but the heart rate was... My heart rate overall was higher than normal, so my variance was lower than it needed to be. I think. Gosh, that's so confusing how we say that. I laid there and I read the news. You know what? I should start getting up and sitting in the dining room and reading the news. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to see if I can't do that tomorrow. I think when I wake up, I'm going to put my feet on the floor, go downstairs, and do my morning ritual of reading the news. In life, I used to think that there were morning people and there were not morning people. There were people who were rushing to work and making it in just on time, and those who were always seemed to be early. And I have to readjust my thinking on that. There are not different kinds of people as far as morning and night and all that mess. There are people who are willing to get up and go. If you're not one of those people, chances are you're not getting the proper amount of sleep. So a long time ago, I started setting my sleep schedule and sticking to it. And for the most part, it works. I am able to get up when it's time to get up and go. Sometimes I don't sleep well. Right now, I know what my problem is. I've pulled a muscle in my back and it's keeping me up at night. And so last night I took a 500 milligram naproxen, and I think it did help. I did get 6.5 hours of unbroken sleep, which is unusual for a man of my age. I think we all know what I'm talking about there. But there's also times where you just don't sleep well because of things on your mind. And that's what woke me up this morning with I had a lot of stuff on my mind. Probably the thing that's foremost, that is front and foremost in my mind is I made a mistake yesterday. I made a horrible mistake. And it was a mistake that went against the advice of my supervisor. And this morning, I have to talk to my supervisor and tell him that he was right and I was wrong. And I think once I do that, I will have a little bit of relief in my consciousness. And that will lead to a better day for both me and the people that are around me. So now that I've said that and I recognize that in myself, I think that I've solved the problem as to why I'm not motivated this morning, because that was on my mind, and now that I've resolved to do that, I think that I'll have a better morning. Unfortunately, if you've come this far in the podcast, you've had to sit through this psychological exercise of me finding out what is wrong with me this morning. And I think that's what's wrong with me this morning. So I can fix that. That's not a problem. I still think the biggest problem right now is snooze buttons. Don't use snooze buttons. If you're married, or if you have a significant other, or whatever kind of relationship you have, if you sleep with a dog on the foot of your bed, man, it's kind of rude to have that snooze button go off 30 times and bother those people, persons, or pets. I cannot tell you how much better life is without a snooze button. It is such a simple thing. I'm not sure why the snooze button came into being, but I am sure it never should have. Before we all had jobs and all we did was survive and wake up and go hunting or gathering, we didn't get up with snooze buttons. We didn't get up with alarms. What we did is we went to sleep when it got dark, and we woke up when it was time to wake up and go do something. One of the things I was really surprised to learn about was the settlers and the farmers and ranchers, etc., during early times of civilization, not just America, but in general, had a lot more free time on their hands. And the reason that is, and the reason that they did a lot more reading and they learned to play instruments and all of that, all the things that seem so hard and out of reach now, is because of the free time they had. And you think, well, they were just surviving. How could they have any free time? Well, the truth is, the reason they had so much free time was during the growing period, and then the period which wasn't the planting or the harvesting, or if you were a hunter when you went out and you hunted and you got game enough for a while, for a period of time that was more than your immediate needs, or after harvesting, when you put everything in the fruit cellar, or I don't know what other words there are, but you can them or whatever. Well, then you had a lot of free time. There was always chores to do, but those chores lasted from sun up to sundown. So during the winter time, sun up to sundown is very short. It turns out that people during early eras of our civilization had a lot more free time than we do now. Because now what we do is we go to work for 8 hours, and then we come home. If you're fortunate enough to have an 8-hour job, some of us go to work for 10, 12 hours. At any rate, we go to work for 8 hours, then we come home, and instead of having 8 hours of wind down and then 8 hours of sleep, what we do is we find things to do at home. We mow our grass, we do honey-do lists around the house, and there's the TV, and now there's the internet, and then there's this show. If you're one of the 3 people who are unfortunate enough to have to kind of make me feel good about myself by watching this, well, gee whiz. But this is no longer the time that we spend, learning to play guitar, or if you're a little bit further south, to play the fiddle, or if you're a little bit further north, to play the violin. There's times, this time that we've lost as free times where we're all working. It's huge. We don't. Wow. We are rambling this morning. I think I found my motivation. Got to go talk to my boss. It is Wednesday, and it's going to be a wonderful Wednesday. I woke up to the sound of rain on my window this morning, so it's going to be another wet day. The last 2 days have been rainy, and today's going to be rainy, and I don't think it's going to clear up until the weekend. That would be lovely if it cleared up at the weekend. I think I have a really think I'm going to have a really good attitude today now that I figured out what's wrong with me. I hope you figure out what's wrong with you. And I hope you find out there's nothing wrong with you. And I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. I hope you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time, ciao. At any rate, I say at any rate a lot. We'll have to cut out at any rate. So, at any rate.